Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pima Voices. My name is Savannah, and I'll be your host. Today, I'm sitting down with Mark Hanna, who is a Pima Community College alum and also a former Pima Community College Governing Board member. And today, we're going to be discussing how the college keeps Tucson thriving. How are you today, Mark?
I'm great, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here and you wanted to come on to the podcast today because you have a really fun, interesting story, and I think it's also very inspiring. And I just want to delve in and tell everyone, but it's not my story to share. So I would love to hear a little bit more about that, and you can let the audience know who is Mark and how you came to be at the college as a student and also part of the governing board as well. So let's give everyone a little bit of taste of that.
All right, great. So before we start, let me just tell you, I am so grateful to Pima Community College. I was able to begin a second career with many, many different rewards than my first career, and all because of Pima Community College. So I can't tell you how grateful I am to this institution and how I talk about it all the time to students and other folks in the community. So I'm also excited to be here to talk about it on the podcast. So I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I moved to Phoenix in the 1970s. I met my wonderful wife of 45 years now there. And I went to work for a company that was called Price Club, now Costco. And it was at their second location in the world. And so it was at the very beginning. And now they have over 900 locations worldwide. And so I was in the right place at the right time. I was that was very convenient. And I moved up pretty quickly. I soon became a general manager, and I was sent all over the country to open up new locations and get them running and manage them for a while and then move on to the next place. And my last stop with them was Brooklyn, New York, which was interesting. It was a 2-floor, so if you can picture a Costco on 2 floors.
Oh, gosh. I've never seen one of those.
Yeah. In New York City, space is not readily available, so you build up instead of out. So so there were escalators that took the carts from one floor to the other, and they didn't always work so well. So that was a challenge, but nevertheless, I very much enjoyed my career at Costco, and I was blessed to retire early. They treat their employees quite well, and I was able to retire at the age of 49, 50 years old. And my wife, when we started moving around with Costco, we talked about it, and she said, okay, I'll go wherever you want to go, or wherever they send you. But when you're done, we're going back to Tucson. She's a native Tucsonan. So that wasn't such a bad deal, and that's what we did. We moved back here in 1999. I knew right away that I needed something to do. I don't play golf, and I needed an avocation to keep me busy. We know studies show that if the more you're engaged, the more social interaction you have, as you grow older, it's better for your mental health, it's better for your physical health, and it's better for longevity. So I decided I wanted to go to college. So I had always regretted not going to college. It turned out okay for me business-wise, but there was also always in the back of my mind a real disappointment that I had not gone to college. And when I got here, I realized that if I was going to do it, Pima College would be the place for me to get started. So I have to tell you, though, that's not quite true, because I did go to college for one semester when I was just out of high school. I went to the University of Maryland. I majored in partying, and I did quite well at that, and I was out of there at the end of that semester. So anyway, so I got here. I decided that I wanted to go to college, and I enrolled at Pima. So let me back up for just a minute and tell you that I have 2 daughters, 3 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. And one of my daughters and 2 of my grandchildren live in Edinburgh, Scotland. And so one of our fun things to do is travel, and we go to Edinburgh quite often. And we were just there for my granddaughter's high school graduation, so it was so much fun. So I keep busy. I feel very strongly about being involved in the community. So I serve on a lot of nonprofit boards. I am on something called the Ishkashida Refugee Network board that helps UN refugees here in Tucson. I serve on the Pima County Planning and Zoning Board, and I have been a member and chair of the Metropolitan Education Commission and a whole bunch of other community service type boards.
Sounds like you can run circles around me.
I just feel that if you're going to be concerned about or you're going to complain about leadership or how things are going, you should get involved. And that's what I do. And it kind of keeps me busy. And I totally enjoy it. So that's a little bit about me.
And so, like you said, you retired at 50, and then I remember you telling me about you volunteered at Catalina High School, and that's when you kind of knew you wanted to also like take classes at Pima and kind of like also like help encourage you to get that college degree that you've always wanted. Is that correct?
That's correct. I had no idea. I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I was at a Passover Seder at my synagogue, and I was sitting across from a woman who was a teacher at Catalina, and she coerced me to come volunteer, and I agreed to do it. And she taught a class. It was a business English class, and it was for students who were at risk of dropping out. And not necessarily for academic reasons, but for a variety of reasons, including their home life and the income of their parents, and sometimes their just being sort of different students who didn't fit in with the rest of the population there. So I did that, and I was hooked immediately. And what I learned from that teacher, she went on to become my mentor in terms of education. And what I learned from her is something very important, is that every student learns differently, and that you can't, in order to reach students effectively, you have to learn what it is about them, what turns them on in terms of education. And I saw these students who had not been successful in most of their other classes all of a sudden be successful in this class. And that's because she walked around, talked to each one of these students, found out something about them, and sort of geared the classroom time to each of these students as well as she could. There was obviously time limits, but so that's what I learned from her. And amazingly enough, I got that back when I came to Pima, because the instructors here, so I was really concerned about going to college. I was scared. I didn't, I knew I could do it, but I was worried about, it had been 30 years or more since I'd been in a classroom. I was worried about math. I was worried about science. I was worried about foreign language, all those kinds of things that are a little tougher when you're a little bit older to grasp. And I was also worried about being the old guy in the classroom.
But that's the beauty about Pima, right? Is the age range is kind of all over the place.
That's true. So I wasn't the only old guy in the classroom. I might have been the oldest, but I wasn't the only person. So I got here and I realized that many of those things weren't it was challenging. Don't get me wrong. It was challenging to go back to school after 30 or 40 years. But the instructors here had that same mentality that my mentor had at Catalina. They knew that everybody was coming from a different space, a different place. And And my firm belief, and I've seen that over the years being associated with Pima, is that many of the instructors here teach at a community college for a reason. Many of them would qualify to teach at the university or other places, but they have chosen to teach at a community college because they know they can make a difference, maybe a larger difference than they would at the university. So not to disparage students at the university, and this doesn't apply to all of them, but many of them come from homes where going to college was just, that's what you did. Mm-hmm. And they learned that from their parents, and they're so much more prepared. And there aren't many who are coming back for second careers or just going to the university later in life. And so the students at Pima are much different than those students, and the instructors know that. And I felt it right away. They took time to learn something about me, and it just really helped to quell all those fears I had about coming back to school. So I can't tell you how grateful I am that I decided to start here. I could have started at the university, but I thought, let me start off slow, and it was really, really the best thing I could have done.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beauties of like coming here is it, like, one, it's totally okay to come here, and like if you want to transfer to the U of A after, awesome. Some people start at the U of A and then they come back to Pima. Some people do it simultaneously where they're taking classes here and at the U of A. And so there's just so much diversity here at the college. And there's that like warm welcome of just like embracing every single individual because we're all so different. Not that that isn't the case at a university level, but like you said, you see a lot more different age groups and everything else here right in our community. And so I think that's one of the most beautiful things about that. And I've always loved going to school. And when I came to Pima, like it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do, and I changed degrees and everything else. And then like it was perfect that I had teachers who like believed in me, who pushed me, who gave me experiences that I don't think I would have ever had if I never came here. And so I think that's really wonderful that you were able to come back to school. And like you said, it was scary at first, right? Like coming back to school after so long. And I mean, I kind of did the same thing. I went to the U of A at 30 years old. And so like it was kind of scary and different and weird. You're just like, am I going to be okay? Like, It's been a while since I've kind of like taken some of these courses. And so, and not only that, like you didn't stop here. You went to the U of A after Pima, right?
Yeah. If I had started at the U of A, I'm not sure that things would have worked out the way they did. So I got the foundation here. I got all my required classes out of the way. I learned what it meant to be a college student. I had no idea before I came here. And then so I got my associate's degree here in education, moved on to the U of A, got my bachelor's degree, and went on to get my master's degree at the University of Arizona College of Education. So again, that I'm pretty sure that would not have ended up that way if I hadn't started here.
And that, like, yeah, starting here kind of gave you that stepping stone to kind of learn your surroundings, kind of get back in the groove of things, and then continue to excel and get your master's. And, like, that can just prove, like, you can kind of figure out what you want to do in life or go back and do something you didn't do at any point in your life, right? Like, age essentially is just a number. You went back to school after being retired from one career to start a whole new career after the age of 50. And, like, that's just, like, wonderful. And I think sometimes a lot of people think like there's certain things stopping them. And I think age is a kind of like a really big thing where people are like, oh, I feel like I'm too old to do this or that or whatever. But it's like, no, that's just a mentality in your head. And you're like, you're the poster child of that. Like you went back to school and then you continued on to get your master's. Like not everyone even gets to do their master's, like even at a young age. And so you're just like, yeah, that's not stopping me. I'm going to keep going. And then you're still doing a bunch of stuff. So it's just like I said, you could probably run circles around me.
I can't deny it was tough. I mean, I don't want paint this picture as I just walked right in and boy, I felt right in place in college. It was tough and there was a learning curve. But again, the instructors here, the counselors, so many people helped me. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say that throughout this whole podcast, I am so grateful for what happened here with me coming back to school that I'm just thankful for that.
Well, there's a learning curve with many things in life of starting things new and coming back to things. And so I think like that's also a very important thing to remember is like, yeah, nothing's ever really going to come easy. You work hard for it every single day to get where you are. And so what would you say to someone who was scared essentially to go back to school or start school, or sometimes, like you said, some people wish they went to college, but they didn't. And so like, what would you say to an individual like that?
I would say, so I'm a counselor, so I'm biased in that opinion. And so I would say that come in and talk to a counselor, talk to someone who can give you the straight scoop, because you don't know, you're scared, but you don't know what you're scared of. And so come in and talk to someone who can say, okay, here's the classes you can take. Here's a path you can follow. I always thought that was wonderful about school here is that I could sit down and they pretty much gave me a checklist. They went through it with me and said, okay, here's what you need to get your AJEC, which is the it's the document you need to be able to transfer over to a 4-year school. And I could just check off those classes as I got them done. So if somebody's thinking about coming back, number one, you can do it. The affordability factor at Pima it makes it much easier for you to start here than to start somewhere else. And you can get the help that you need. So that's what I would say to them.
Well, yeah, I feel like you've said it really well. Like there's always going to be someone here to help get you started and get you going what you need to do. And so I also just wanted to say like, thank you for all your community support. Like I said, I've seen you on social media and stuff. You're at this event, you're doing that, and you're doing this, and you just really love the community that you're in, excuse me. And I see you come to events and this and that. And so it's really wonderful to see such an individual like continue to thrive and continue believing in a community that essentially like is your wife's like home, right? She always wanted to come back here to Tucson. And so you've really made Tucson your home, and like you're just a leader in our community still to this day. And so thank you for everything that you've done being on the governing board and everything else. And it's truly wonderful to finally actually really sit down and meet you in person, because I feel like I've kind of passed by you and things like that and so forth. And so it's been really great to sit down and talk to you and like hear a little bit more about yourself and your background and just like your energy and your passion for everything else is just so vibrant. And so I really appreciate you coming in and sharing all of that with me today and everyone else.
Thanks.
And thank you everyone for tuning in to today's episode, and I will see y'all next week. Thank you.